Let's learn a little bit of Torah, friends. This week's Parsha TZAV has some really interesting elements when it comes to the older form of leadership in the Jewish community. If you're unaware, in the year 70 CE, with the destruction of the Second Temple, there was a major shift. The whole idea of a rabbi really began then. It didn't happen in a moment, but there was a shift from the inherited mantle of being a priest to the meritocracy, to the idea that you could become a leader. Any one of us from within our people could grow and become a recognized leader. What rabbi meant then is different than what rabbi means now, but it doesn't mean priest. And that's important to realize. You were a priest only because of your birth story. I'll tell you a really bad joke. It's a really old bad joke. I tell it all the time. My daughter's on the broadcast. She has certainly heard it before. And now I'll have offered it for posterity through this broadcast to our community. There's a guy who really wants to be a priest, really wants to be a Kohen. And so he goes to a rabbi and says, just rabbi, please make me a Kohen. And the rabbi says, get out of here, and chases him away. Second rabbi, so this guy goes to another rabbi, like, please make me a rabbi. And the rabbi says, oh, come on, get out of here, chases him away. The third time that he goes to a rabbi, he says, please, rabbi, just make me a rabbi, make me a priest, I'll do anything. And the rabbi says, I'll tell you what, I want you to donate enough that we can dedicate the entire Hebrew school wing of our synagogue building. And if you do that, you raise all the funds and we finish the building, I'll make you a priest. The guy does. He finds the money, donates it to the shul. The rabbi brings him, performs some made up ritual, and says, now you're a priest. But my child, can I ask you a question? Why was it so important to you to become a priest? The guy looked at the rabbi and says, well, my father was a priest, and his father was a priest. You get it? You can only be a priest because in traditional Judaism, where your father comes from. Hi, Hanan. Nice to see you, my friend. Sending you guys so much love. And so, what is it to become a priest? You're born into it. It's not the way that we have training for rabbis today or for educators, but there is a really essential moment where the priest becomes a priest. There's an ordination ceremony in this week's Parsha in TZAV. Now I want to read it to you in the Hebrew. Vayishchat, right? So the animal, the second ram in this ceremony was shechted, was slaughtered. Et ha'ayel hasheni el hamiluim, and the name of the second ram was miluim, and that is very intense because miluim is also the modern Hebrew word in Israel today for the for reservists, for those who are fighting. It's fascinating where modern Hebrew gets its language from. Often these connections are incredibly complicated and rich. So the second ram is offered, Vayismechu Aaron uvanav et yidehem, and Aaron and his children, right? Aaron, who's the first priest and is the Kohen Gadol, the high priest. He and his children gather together and they place their hands al Rosh Ha'ayil, on the head of this ram that's about to be sacrificed. And it was slaughtered. I'll switch to English. Moses took some of its blood and put it on the ridge of Aaron's right ear. I feel like Carol Burnett for those who have these memories. On the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. And it's strange. And Moses does the same thing with the sons of Aaron, puts some of the blood on the ridges of their right ears, thumbs of their right hands, big toes of their right feet, and the rest of the blood was dashed on the altar. And this is, if you want to look it up, it's in Leviticus, Vayikra, chapter 8. Happens to be verse 22 to 24 if you want to look it up. It's a fascinating ritual. And what I wanted to spend a moment thinking about out loud is why? Why the ear and the thumb and the big toe? Philosophers and commentators like Philo and Ibn Ezra and many modern commentators have had a lot to say about why. But I wanted to offer a very, very plain reading of this text. Why? Why the ear? Why the hand? Why the foot? And I want to say that in order to be a resonant leader, in order to truly be a leader of our people, in order to show up You have to hear what's going on. You really cannot close your ears. The Talmud actually has this very funny way of describing the construction of the ear. There's the reason why we have earlobes. And not everyone has detached earlobes, but the reason why we have earlobes is so we can plug up our ears and not hear what we don't want to. Specifically, Lashon Hara, specifically when someone is saying something about someone else. But in fact, in order to be a priest or a rabbi or a parent or an elected official or any role that deserves the title leader or is supposed to live up to it, you have to truly listen. And so we bring great attention to the ear for the priest because they might have gotten the role just because of who their father was, which is, we talk about nepotism today, and we understand that's actually not a great way of deciding who your leaders are going to be. Just because your parent was a phenomenal human being doesn't mean you will be. And it doesn't mean that you will choose to be a communal leader just because your parent was. It's a very important thing that has changed over time. So, the ear. You have to listen well. Why the hand? Well, perhaps because if you really hear something, you can't say that you care unless your hand is involved in a response. You can't just hear it. In Judaism, faith is what I do with my body, not what I say I hear, not what I say I care about. Audio responses are not enough. This broadcast, or any podcast, or any statement of concern, not enough. Statements of thoughts and prayers in response to school shootings, thoughts and prayers when someone is in need, that doesn't help anybody. It's what you do with your hands that matter most. So that's the ear and the hand. Why the foot? Why the foot? Because I can't say that I care about what's happening in my homeland if I don't use my feet to go. If I don't show up when my friend, let's say in another community nearby, has a loss and is sitting Shiva, I love you so much, but I didn't go. I love you, my homeland. I love you, my sister in Tel Aviv, my friend in Tekoa, my daughter in Jerusalem. I love you, but I don't show up. When the priests were appointed, a smicha process for something that was biologically already true, they had to go through a training which was physical, a shift in how they functioned in the world. Blood was touched to their right ear, to their hand, and to their foot. And I know it sounds strange. Just like the rest of Vayikra, the rest of the book of Leviticus might sound strange because it's just so physical. It is so gory. It's not the way we connect with God. But we do understand that elements of sacrifice are still part of how to live a sacred life. We do understand that the way the priests were appointed can give us incredible wisdom when it comes to our own functioning as leaders or as being in relationship. How can I be in relationship with you if I don't listen? If all I do is hear what I already have in my head? How can I care if all I do is say I care? How do I show you that I care if I don't show up? We are called, all of us, to learn from the physical ordination of priests. And we are called by the text later, after the book of Vayikra, to be a mamlechet kohanim, to be a kingdom of priests, which is another way of saying this is not just for appointed leaders, this is for all of us. So I want to ask us these questions as we go forward into today. Are you listening? Especially to things that are hard. The New York Times yesterday finally published testimony of a woman who was sexually assaulted, an Israeli woman who was sexually assaulted by Hamas, tortured, while hostage. I don't want to hear it, of course I don't. I don't want to hear it because I don't want it to be true. But it's true, and I have to hear it. For the sake of my children, for the sake of our people, we have to hear. We have to pay close attention, and we have to bear testimony, and we have to bear witness. It's really hard, friends. I'm not saying this lightly, not saying it casually, and I hope that the way I've said it has given that woman, that human being, my sister, the honor she deserves, the dignity she deserves, the dignity we have to demand. I also hope that the way I shared it was hearable for you. I hope I'm not hurting you by saying this, but we have to show up. Number one is listen. Number two, are we willing to use our hands to do what we say we care about? I know it's a long time, 173 days. One of the most impactful things I've heard in recent days was from my daughter Ariel, who was on the beach in Tel Aviv at a dance party Saturday night for Purim with thousands of young Jews celebrating Purim, including survivors from Nova, who danced again. How can we help our people heal and be strong? How? We have to use our hands. That means give of your means, give of your time. Make sure that you are typing and writing and teaching and demanding action. And feet, ears, hands, and feet. Have you gone back yet, friends? I'm asking you, not because we all can right now, but if you can, have you gone back? I've been to Israel twice since October 7th on missions led by UJA, one with a group of New York rabbis the week after, October 7th, 2 weeks after, and then a month after that with a group of elected officials from Westchester County here. And I'm asking you, friends, have you been back? Because if you have been back, if you have visited, if you've returned home to stand with our family, you have heard things. And I'm sure that when you came back, you were using your hands out of love for our people. And you use your hands there to be part of the healing. But we are called, every opportunity we will have for the rest of our lives, to show up. Chana, you're moving back to Israel in September. Bless you. Bless you, bless you. So moved by you. Always have been. So I bless us to learn from the model of the priests who might have had their role because of birth. You might be who you are, and you were born who you are. We've grown through our lives, but some of us began in positions or even shifted and changed and grew after already being in the roles that we find ourselves. But there are moments where we are called to really, really grow as leaders. And in this moment of Am Yisrael's history, Jewish history, we are called to really grow. And so this week's Parsha gives us the how. Use your ears. Use your hands. Use your feet. I'm moved, Arlene and Judy, by your travels. I'm moved, Rosa, by your passionate support of those who are there. We are called. We are called again, just like the priests. I bless your ears, that they should hear beautiful things and the things that we must hear, that we wish weren't. I bless your hands, friends, that you're able to truly be a helper, that you take good care of yourself and you take care of others. I bless your feet, that they take you where you are needed so that you can use that loving, listening capacity and those willing, gracious hands. Here we go. Let's sing our way into a beautiful day by sending our hearts to the east. Let's sing Hatikva. Kolon balevav penima nefesh Yehudi homia ulafate mizrach kadima ayin letzion Sophia Od lo avda tikvatenu התקווה בת שנות 2000, להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים. להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים. Bless you, friends. Am Yisrael Chai. Bring them home now. See you tomorrow.